Hello and welcome to Gin with Gwynne. I'm Oliver Gwynne, and this is where I give you my off the cuff and unrehearsed thoughts on philosophy, data, and this week, marketing, because I'm talking about free, underused marketing tactics that I love using, but I feel like a lot of marketers aren't really taking advantage of. So, number one is location based advertising. So I feel like a lot of people who spend money on advertising, they spend money thinking about the who. They think about the demographic data of who are their customers, and they use lookalike audiences. They spend a lot of time trying to find the right niche of people to appeal to, and they spend a lot less time thinking about the where. And the where can be very, very, very impactful. So bear in mind on Google Ads, and on Meta, so Facebook and Instagram, you can target it within a 1 mile radius of a specific pin or address. On TikTok, it's a little less precise. You can only target by city or region at the time of recording. But certainly, Facebook, Instagram, and Google 1 mile radius is something that I don't see a lot of people using. Particularly, some people I've seen they go by postcodes and all this kind of thing, which can be very useful. But I think it's really, really powerful what you can do with that. So first of all, let's talk about postcodes. So you can look today quite easily, it's easily available, a list of the postcodes with the highest value houses in the UK. You can get that list, you could put it into Google, and you know that those houses are where the rich people are. And if you are a premium product, it makes a lot of sense that you would advertise to those people and not the people who are living in poor areas. That makes so much common sense to me. Um, my philosophy with ads has always been to try and create a high barrier. So Google or Meta or whatever, they have to really work to get my money. Has to be really a tight match of the person, and not certainly this view of go broad and trust the algorithm. I've never been particularly fond of that. So location plays into that. If I can target where the rich people are living versus where the poor people are living, then if my product is suitable for that, then that's where I'm going to target. That makes a lot of sense to me. But most brands can take advantage of geography and they just don't for some reason. Obviously, geography is very important if you have a delivery radius or if you know that one area is more expensive to deliver than the other, then geography makes so much more sense. Um, but even if you are starting to think clever about this, you're in a B2B environment. One time I did this campaign where I was targeting banks, and I realized that there was not a lot around. I think it was RBS in Scotland. There's not loads of stuff around there. So I just targeted RBS's headquarters, which is quite big, and a 1 mile radius around there, and then made an ad that was specific to RBS. And we managed to get some inquiries off that. And obviously, in London, it's a little bit more difficult because, Canary Wharf, you've got that area there where a lot of the major banks are. Um, but it's more difficult to do like a HSBC specific ad for that particular area. But we could do that area and then target all the banks there and everybody who's on their break. Normally they can't access um, personal stuff on their work computers at the time, but they could access it on their mobile on the break. So we would target around the station and around the pubs around there and all that kind of stuff. And that was really, really effective in getting hold of those people by targeting where we knew they would be. And it's so obvious to me that people, I can't believe, don't really take advantage of it. Another example, I was once working with this Islamic charity, and I targeted mosques, so 1 mile radius around a mosque, and I would specifically target just after prayer times during Ramadan, so that they would see the ad after they came back out of their prayers and check their phones, and they would see our charity ads on that place. Made a lot of sense, and I did that I think just before and after the prayer times. Another really good use case there. And similarly, like gyms, I don't know about anybody else, but I'm getting targeted for gyms that are not in my area. Well, if you know that a gym has just opened up in a particular area, then it makes so much sense to use geo targeting. And I don't feel like people are really taking advantage of that at this point, and I can't really figure out for why. But even so, if you are a brand and you've not got a presence in a certain high street and you're thinking about opening a store, well, run ads where your store will be and see how many people in that area are going to buy from you, because that's a great indicator and it's a lot cheaper than running a pop-up store or something like that. If you are on Oxford Street and you're trying to get people through the door, okay, Oxford Street's maybe a bad example because it's very busy, but if you're on a not busy place or you're just trying to get somebody you're a little bit out of the way, then run ads. Hey, we're just around the corner from Oxford Street. Come visit us. Oh, I wasn't going to walk that far, but you know what? I'll go and have a look now. So yeah, I think location is one of the most underused marketing tactics that people don't often think about. Where are their customers and when are they in those locations? So according to uh, Google's 2024 report on location-based marketing statistics market data report, 78% of location-based mobile searches lead to offline purchases, and such marketing increases click-through rates by 200% compared to non-targeted ad. Well, that's not a great statistic now that I read it out loud. I'm sorry about that. Uh, yeah, if you're not targeting your ads, of course, adding an extra layer makes it more targeted and makes it more effective, generally speaking. Alex Johnson, commercial director of Retail Co, said that location-based marketing allows us to deliver highly relevant messages to customers, leading to increased engagement and conversations. The downside, of course, with personalization is if you're going to run an ad that says, "Hey, Bromley by Bow, we've just moved in. This is our new business," then your landing page needs to reflect that. Your marketing needs to reflect that. You can't just send people to generic things. It's really annoying when people do that. Put in the effort. It's not that difficult. It's not that costly these days. So the second piece of underused marketing tactics is reusing old content. Okay, content has become significantly easier in recent years because of ChatGPT to write. But I think most marketers are conscious of the fact that quality will always outshine quantity. You can tell when ChatGPT is being used generally. And people who write good quality, useful content that's not too salesy, there's there's not loads of people who do that. It does really stand out when you find things that are of good quality. I know a lot of people these days they're optimizing short form content, but I think there's a lot of use cases still for long form and informed content. But I guess my point overall is just people have a tendency of spending time and effort and money on these content things, and they put them out and they do one blog post and that's it. And then if it doesn't get that traction, you know, that's it basically. And it's such a waste, really. You've spent any amount of time on it, then try and put it out again, repurpose it, put it onto uh, a lot of other platforms. So a couple of things there is one is reusing content is really cost effective. You've already got it there, so why not just put it out there again? Obviously, you might want to wait 3 months or 6 months or whatever it might be. According to Insights Pro, it can lead to a 106% increase in traffic. And Maria Lopez, content strategist at Tech Solutions, says that by repackaging our webinars into blog posts and infographics, we've extended the lifespan of our content and reached a broader audience. So yeah, that's a really good use case. If you've got webinars, then you turn them into long form content, you turn them into downloads. It's one of the most popular things that we do on a regular basis is write-ups from the events that we actually go to. But the second point of that is a lot of the time the reasons that blogs and content doesn't do well is the distribution. People need to spend more time on distribution, basically. Are you posting in LinkedIn groups? Are you posting to relevant forums? Are you going on to Quora and answering questions and putting links and all this kind of stuff? It can take a lot of time to do, and it's sometimes difficult to justify the time because there's a fuzzy relationship between sort of content and direct sales some of the time. Um, but you should be spending these days, because content has become easier, you should be spending more time on the distribution of content and not being afraid to reuse content and getting the most out of every single piece that you write. One of the things that we're doing this year is just we had several smaller blog posts, and now we're putting those into one core category on that, so you can see all of our advice, for example, on data extraction or whatever it might be. We're repurposing that content purposely so that it's a longer read on our website, and then you'll get the short tips sort of online. Number 3 is direct mail. A little bit controversial these days. People think that direct mail is outdated, but I think if you've already got the address of people, so this is my use case here, you've already got the address of people, you know that they're high LTV people, and you want to upsell them, then direct mail makes so much sense to me. Why are you not sending them a product catalog or an offer or something like that? the reasons I see that marketers are hesitant to do it is because it can be very wasteful. Obviously, if those things get just thrown straight away, you don't want to do that. But that can be managed. You can get recycled paper. You can design things in a more ethical way, so that you're not using as much ink basically on them. And you don't have to send somebody the yellow pages or a novel. You can send somebody something quite light that will be useful. Obviously, it has a cost associated with it, and it seems when you compare a direct mail piece, I think a stamp is like 70p at the moment or something. It's been a while since I posted anything, but when you compare maybe £1 overall to send somebody a direct mail piece versus the pence that you would spend sending them an email, it's difficult to justify the cost on there, but it can be very, very powerful. You certainly know that it's probably going to get in front of people, especially if it's relevant, especially if it contains some sort of offer, and if it's related to their purchase online. I think that a piece of direct mail can be a lot more effective than a upselling email or a "you might be interested in this" email. So according to Direct Mail Trends and Statistics for 2024 by Postalytics, I was about to get that name wrong. Direct mail remains a powerful tool, especially for engaging high-value customers. It boasts an open rate of 90%, significantly higher than emails 20 to 30%, and offers a median ROI of 29%. How do they know it has an opening rate of 90%? Are they watching you with binoculars in your house? I'm not sure about that statistic. James Thompson of Elite Services says that sending personalized letters to our top clients has strengthened relationships and led to an increased repeat businesses. So I think those are my three marketing tactics, and actually the three of them can work really well together. So if you've got somebody's address, think about what direct mail that you can send to somebody, and make it not necessarily sales led, make it sort of content led, if anything. So if you are a food brand, if you're Tesco still send you those coupons for the mail. And I know that every single time I will go and have a look at those coupons, and it's a lot more effective to me than the app notifications that I get, which I largely ignore. So I still think that direct mail has a really key point to pay to that. But with Tesco, okay, maybe that's going to get thrown away, or I don't use them, so they don't want to send me that if I'm not using them. That's their thought process. But why don't you send me recipes? Why don't you send me, here's an idea of what to do on your Easter and what to cook? I'd probably read that, and then that would definitely get me in the store. And you don't necessarily have to give me a coupon and prove that I've used the coupon, because people forget and all of that kind of stuff. Second thing is reusing old content. So getting the most out of your content and spending more time on distribution of content, because that's more important in a world where content becomes easier and quicker to produce, especially for long form content or key content pillars that you've done. And the number one thing was prioritizing location in ads. So think about postcodes, think about mile radiuses of where your customers will be at what time and what you can then send to them. Bear in mind that your total addressable market is a lot lower on advertising than you probably imagine, because so many people have ad blockers, so many people can't look at things due to work restrictions on their work laptops. And so your time sliver is quite small, and it's a smaller audience than sort of Google makes out to you. But that is good, because it should increase your focus. The more you can increase your focus on advertising, the more return on investment you typically get. Although the cost per conversion might be a little bit higher, the quality should be there basically. So those are my three underused marketing tactics. What marketing tactics do you use? What do you think that is secret sauce that people don't get the most out of? Let me know in the comments below, and thanks for watching.